Tommy Gioco.
I'm moving the audio slider down to fade out the music because you pressed live a few minutes early there, guy.
Listen. I pressed live like 3 minutes early, but really I was 2 minutes late. You see, the countdown should start at 11:55. The show should go live at 12. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yeah.
gotta be a man of the people. Come and, when you were a kid, did your dad ever tell you like you are how punctual you are? You know what I'm
No, my dad
saying?
was late to everything.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm
sorry,
still waiting for
man.
him to show up, you know?
Sorry, pops. Um, Dude, welcome to the show. You weren't here Tuesday. That's going to be a thing. You're not around on Tuesdays. It's just a thing. But we got big news today that you're here. We got big news. Have you seen the big
Uh-oh.
news? I don't even
I've
want to
seen
do an
I've
intro
seen a
today.
few big newses. What's the
We got
what's the
lots of big
biggest news?
newses. Here's the big news.
Huh?
Cursor. We raised $900 million
Yes, they did.
in Series C funding.
Yep.
We've
Insane.
grown to over 500 million ARR. Brother.
That's nuts, dude. And so, I mean, first of all, Rio Lu making good choices in the career, as it turns out. Did you know this? America's actually leading AI funding, 86.2% of global investments. Now, I don't really know
I expect
how to make
that.
heads or tails of that with the geopolitical climate. We got, wow, look at the thing of the past here, this picture, right? But
Oh man, the bros that were, dude. The bros that were.
it's basically all the Twitter feed has been full of the last couple of days, but that's insane. Cursor really coming out looking like a winner right now. You know who
I
else looks like a winner right
mean,
now?
uh, Ethan Driscoll. Show
Yeah,
me. Wonderful reference, Ethan.
I like it. Perplexity, dude. I'm telling you, I am so high on Perplexity. I really think Perplexity is going to continue. One, they move at a clip that I think is commendable. Like the
Yeah.
things they are doing, material product launches, right? Like then they do little things too. They're doing big things, Perplexity Labs we saw last week. And they're doing small things, right? Like little things that I think are material, giving free access to SEC data across search, research, and labs. They listen to where the signal is. They clearly have some sort of infrastructure that really surfaces that signal. All the meanwhile, and this is a big one I want to talk about today, all the meanwhile doing dope little things. This is not a necessary play.
No.
And for some people, they'd say, why are you guys doing this stuff? Why are you guys opening a coffee truck, a food truck? Why do you guys have, you can buy Perplexity branded coffee beans.
Yeah.
I don't know how good they are.
They're probably good, dude. Here's the answer. Here's the answer. And honestly, part of today's topic, right? We got all the tools. Who has the taste? Perplexity has taste. They've got soul. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? They're bringing it to the table.
And I want to call out, man, this is why I really think branding is such branding distribution, the perception of your brand is such a big deal. The more and more we see the saturation of these different tools, you're seeing this problem right now with our good buddy Steve at builder.io. Do you see all this stuff he's having to
Yes.
jujitsu around, man?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
pretty funny. It's terrible on one end. On the other end, though, I actually think, and we talked about this, but he's getting major publicity because of
Mm-hmm.
this, which has got
Mm-hmm.
to have some good second order effects, you know. And he's out here, he's guys for the last time. This is a different company. Poor Steve, right? Fending
Poor
off
guy, man.
he says these are the real conversations happening now. Customer support rep or sales. I assured them that our AI is not just our India team writing code.
Dude, it's so funny. Like this is the downside. Speaking of branding and distribution, this is the downside of going with like a name like Builder and then using the domain extension
Yeah.
as your differentiator and branding.
Yeah.
It's just not the best.
No.
Let's get into chat real quick. Clow, morning, my man. What's going
Hey,
on?
what's up, dude?
Yes, Cursor Windsurf. Who's on top these days? I'm full back on the Cursor train,
Ooh.
with a heavy sprinkling of Claude Code. So I think Claude Code, Cursor, background agents is just dominating the way. Here's why, point blank. Windsurf doesn't even have access to Anthropic models anymore. And Sonnet 4 and Opus 4 are fucking insane. They're
So is
just
that going to be a permanent thing now that the conversations with OpenAI, which have not closed yet, by the way, that is not a for sure thing until
right.
we see things exchange hands, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But all I can say is that at this point in time, Windsurf feels like cute and cuddly, and Cursor feels like it's just beginning to pull away from the race at a crazy clip. Especially
So
because they just rolled
you're
out
using
1.0.
Cursor right now for like material dev work?
I'm literally I will share my whole fucking screen with you real quick. I'll just share my whole screen. There we go. Just put my money where my mouth is. There's Hunter's screen. Let's go to desktop 2. It's just all it's all Cursor and
No.
Claude Code and yeah. And my wife,
We
her
good.
ponytail because a baby threw up on her, and it's hilarious. But yeah, man, it's Cursor, man. They're winning the race.
Interesting. So do you even pay for Windsurf right now?
No,
Oh,
actually,
you've canceled
I
it.
lied. I lied. I got an invoice from Windsurf today, and I was like, I need to cancel that. So thank you for reminding me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean it's interesting, man, to see the number of, and the other thing that's coming into play, and we saw this with our boy Pietro, is a lot of integrations. Like I almost want to track, right? There's the consumer behavior, like what tools are you using this month? And
Yep.
then there's the integration behavior. What tools are other tools prioritizing integrating with? And I think I want to see that data. Like I want to see who, where's that happening? Obviously on the model side, I think everyone's racing to just have all the models because it just puts you in a good position. But it's interesting to see, you now see like Pietro, and you just did, by the way. I want to give a shout out to the old Hunter Hammond's YouTube channel, about to crack 1K on the sub list over
Woo!
here.
Am
Look
I?
at this, man.
Oh shit, I am. Oh, look at that screen grab, dude. Hell yeah.
I made sure to stop on a proper fixture here.
Yeah.
And you've been having fun with these thumbnails. This needs to be one of the ones. But Magic Path and Cursor, little handshake. Pietro getting it done. By the way, saw Magic Path for a brief moment on Tuesday's live stream. Hope you gave him a little feedback.
I did. I got rate limited because I was on the free count,
Oh,
and there
got
wasn't
it.
like a good notification that happened. But I want to say this while we're talking about Magic Path. Go watch the YouTube video. Pietro dives deep into Magic Path, and we talk about some of the cool shit that it does. But we also had a conversation after the recording about some of their roadmap and some of the stuff that they're tinkering with. And he showed me, and dude, I got to tell you, I am really excited about this because here's what's interesting to me. And one of the things we kind of stumbled into, his idea isn't, will you please get this fucking screen off? Come on. His idea isn't that AI should replace designers, right? It's that he wants to help influence the workflow, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the use cases we talked about is like, I'll be in a really high fidelity environment where the off menu team is cranking away in Figma, doing really beautiful stuff, but I'm maybe moving faster, or I need something a little different in development or whatever. I can just take a screenshot of, our experience. I can go to Magic Path. I can just drop in that screenshot and say, hey, I need you to recreate this, but make this, this, and this differently.
Yeah.
Right. And then I can take that and put it right into Cursor. And it's this way that you kind of seamlessly integrate that AI design workflow into more of a traditional, like high fidelity environment. And I'm like, dude, the stuff that they're doing there is crazy. Now, the other thing, this is really cool. We had to remove it from the interview, sadly. But they're about to ship a Figma plugin to where you can iterate things in Magic Path, grab them and drop them full spec into Figma and start working on it from there to have more control over the
Would the
UI and things
work
like
in
that.
Figma, did you see this? Would the work in Figma then translate back over to Magic Path? Is that the thinking, like a round trip?
It's something that they're working on. Yeah, it's something that
That'd
they're
be
working
interesting.
on.
It's cool, man, to see these tools. Like we were just we obviously had Weber on from Flora last Friday, and they're, I think, a direct competitor. The only one I've seen on the market just went live 2 days ago. Weevai.ai. I was talking to those guys, and just all these different creative workflows. I've been having all these conversations with different tool makers, and I'm stoked, man. Even Subframe, even our
Yep.
friends at Subframe, Philip and crew, who we talked to earlier this year in a different capacity. And I met them over at Config, and they're a great bunch. And it was like, okay, cool. There's some cool stuff there. Even they've come a whole long way. And so we're only a couple months removed from when I first looked at some of these tools and said, hey, that's cute, to now where
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, like this is getting kind of bulletproof, and it's
Yeah,
really interesting, dude.
it is
The
getting.
whole world of design tooling and dev tooling is wide open, but I think as we get into the second half of this year, we're gonna start to see people, and you just said it yourself. You just picked a winner. You just said Cursor's a winner for you right now.
Cursor's winner
And
for me.
and
Yeah.
and I don't think you've declared winners on in your opinion yet. And I think more and more
Like, how
people are
could
gonna
you
start
talk
to
with
declare
Rio
winners.
Lu about his
Yeah.
goals designing Cursor and not
Yeah.
be like, yeah, that's the horse that I
Yeah.
want. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's nuts, man. It's going fast, dude. It is
It's going
going
too fast.
fast. And
I
I
want to talk
look at
about it.
these teams who are moving fast. I look at how you guys are moving. I look at all these software teams are moving. I want to move fast. How do you move fast, Hunter?
You are moving fast, bro.
How do you I want to move
You're
faster,
moving
man?
fast, man. You're moving fast.
Oh, there's
Oh,
so much, so many things. But I'll tell you what, you want to know what you want to know the biggest news of the week was Hunter shared he shared his process, guys. I don't know if you saw this. Hunter was being very generous with his entire cracked AI design process. And for those who don't know, Hunter has a crazy design process, which accumulated up it here to this giant rug pull, by the
dude,
way.
can we hold on? Can we talk about the fact that like yesterday I'm seeing everybody tweet out like, oh, such a horrible day to like
It got
launch a
so much
company.
engagement, man.
Dude, this went like here's what happened. I just want to give you a backstory on this.
Look at Cloud.
Yeah, dude. We haven't been doing a good job of sharing off menu work because we're just like always busy and we forget. And so I was like, okay, give me a bunch of latest like little screen grabs to share and I'll schedule them. And I was looking at them. I was like, man, it would be funny to just tweet this. And I already knew I was going to pull the rug as soon as I sent the tweet. And I walked into Christian's office. I was like, go look at my Twitter. This is going to go viral. And then here's what I'm going to do. Brother, the fact that the rug pull video has 1,400 bookmarks
Yeah.
absolutely tickles me, dude. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many people that are going to watch that and be like, oh, this motherfucker.
So for those who don't know, he shares this for the listeners. Shares, hey, I've cracked AI design. Reply, show me, and I'll share my prompts. Couple beautiful screens from the team, and then in the replies, and this goes. So you've got 500, almost 500,000, 460,000 views on this thing,
Dude,
and
there's
then the video you
1,000
share in the prompts.
comments.
Yeah, yeah, that's insane. Show me, show me, show me, show me, all through the comments. Drops a 2-minute video. And he starts talking. He's like, all right, so here's what I do. I open up the IDE. I do this in the terminal. I'm doing this thing. And he just pulls up off Menu's website. He says that's the trick. Hey, did this land you some phone calls?
I have no idea. I haven't asked. And
No,
probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts. This is well done. Eat your heart out, Brett. I'm sure there's notes to be had here. Well
Yeah.
done, man. Well done. I
Wait,
appreciate this.
can we talk about this real quick in terms of distribution? So, like, I don't know, man. I've been lazy. You and I have very different approaches to Twitter. Like, your approach has been like, I'm just going to tweet everything. And it's fucking working well for you. Like, you've come out of nowhere. You're at 10,000 followers now.
Hey.
You know what I mean? Like, it's ticking up. And my approach has always been like, I don't really feel like tweeting unless I have something that I think is useful. And I watched Brett just fucking banger after banger after banger. And it's all repetitive. It's the same fucking thing. It's formulaic, but he knows it and it works. And, you know, don't hate the player, hate the game. Right. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to do this. And because I know it'll go viral. And it does. And I'm thinking like, I literally have 10 other ideas that would do
You
just
feel
as
like the
well.
Matrix, like you just saw it all collapse.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like,
I'm like, I
see
got
it
10
now.
more. I got 10 more of these that will just pop off. But do I want to be that guy? And then we're tinkering around. And let me show you this. This is so funny, dude. Let me show you. Hold on. I gotta share my whole screen again to find Figma. Okay, let me show you Figma real quick. And so we're tinkering
Progressive
around with
look.
these thumbnails, and we're having
Mm.
so much fun. And I'm like, these are the most cringe, clickbaity fucking thumbnails in the world, but god damn, do they work? And I'm
Are
like,
you doing split testing on these too?
yeah. That's why there's different variants. I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? I could see like almost go back in time to what was the BuzzFeed to like
Oh
BuzzFeed
yeah,
where you
yeah,
get
yeah.
the clickbait empire of
Right.
like, I'm gonna get the eyeballs, but I'm gonna give you value. Okay.
Right.
So we're gonna clickbait to bring you in and then give you value. That might be the formula these days, dude. You know?
You know what? It is funny because I think you and I do take a different approach to this, and we've got our shows coming out. I go to LA next week. I'm nervous. I'm excited to film our
Hell yeah.
first episode of that thing. And I, like because I think you're correct. I think the biggest thing is lead with the things we know work for engagement and attention grabbing, and then
Mhm.
follow through and over deliver on the value, the
Yeah.
promise, right? And there's a book that a new team member we just brought on is recommended to me, and I kind of read the cliff notes, and it resonates with me so much. Unreasonable hospitality, like go do some of this stuff that doesn't, you've got, I know you've got it. Yeah. What do you think of this?
Ah,
I'm about to crack one of these open finally. What do you think of that one? Oh, there we go. Yeah.
whoops.
Yeah.
It fucking knocks the Leica off the shelf.
Well, and I think what I'm leaning into is like, can we make the clickbait be artistic? Which is a
Yeah.
weird thing. It's a weird thing. And so I've got a thumbnail designer, and he's sick, and he's like super artistic, but it still has this sensationalism. I'll show a little bit later once we've got some work, but I'm curious to see our methods play out. And I think both of these are going to have their space in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think like you are
Let me show you
you're
this guy while you're talking.
yeah, hit me up. But the two approaches that I think are fascinating is like so I'm just gonna update chat and you tell me if I need to fix anything that I say.
Okay,
But
okay.
basically, Tommy's going all in on media, right? So Tommy and I had
Yes.
this conversation like, what do we want to do together? And I said, I want to build stuff. And Tommy said, I want to build media. And so Tommy is laser focused on media. He's going all in on UX tools, the two new shows he's got coming out. You're spending big dollars to do in-person production, hiring crews. You're building like the HBO of taste, is how I would describe it. That's right. Like that's what we got.
That is
And
the
me,
mission.
I'm like, I want to build media really just as a top of funnel. Like I want to create value, but I want to funnel people to things that we're building. Right. And those are kind of the two different angles that we're taking. And so mine is like, how can I create media without leaving my office? And yours is like, let me be on location and, with a crew going hardcore.
And I think I think the more and more, and we see it with Perplexity, we see it with these software tools who are like, how do we differentiate? How do we, you see it with Steve fighting fires. No, we're a different company. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you differentiate in this new era of saturation, not just in software, which is obviously, I think, going to be one of the first areas, but in like meaningful media. And I think there's a number of ways you can do it. I think at the very, I think table stakes is you have to have real value. Unless you lean into comedy. I will tell you, I don't think AI media can play sincerely. I think it can fool, and I think it will fool, but I'm starting to change my opinion because I ran into this short form TikTok account of a completely AI generated Yeti, and he walks around and he's like being hilarious. He's like, "Oh, these damn
Okay.
humans." And it's just him like documenting as he's wandering around forests, having these hilarious philosophical conversations with himself. And it's this AI generated Yeti, full voice, everything. And I'm like, dude, that's hilarious. It's very funny, very well done. He comes across like human things in the wild, and he's being like who was the old nature
Steve Irwin.
Australian? Who?
Steve Irwin.
Steve. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he's kind of bringing like a lens to that. It's hilarious, man. I'm like, okay, like the whole world's going to be different. And the question is, how do we have personality in it? How do we add some things? And so for me, it's like, yeah, I want to have a little bit of taste. I want to add some. This is like, for me, this is sensationalism. But even when you think about like thumbnail work, like this to me still shows just an interesting visual differentiation. I love this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I don't know how well it's going to play, but these are the bets I'm going to try to make. And the hope is, that it has an element of craft to it that resonates with folks. How funny a commercial is on TV and no one likes ads. No one likes ads. Everyone likes ads if they're done well.
He just called you Peepaw.
Okay, people, let's get you back inside. Yeah.
The HBO of taste. Not sure if that is a compliment or an insult. Adrian, it's a fucking compliment because let's settle something real quick. HBO produced two of the best TV shows of all time, The Wire and The Sopranos. So you can get
Say,
fucked if you
Sopranos
feel
better be
otherwise.
on there.
Okay.
I agree with both of those shows, by the way. Fantastic call outs, no notes.
No notes, right? Hunter, what did you use to generate thumbnails? We use Kriya AI to generate thumbnails.
Kriya was down the other night. How often does Kriya go down?
I don't know. That's a pet or no question. Just to generate the person in the thumbnail. The rest of it's designed from scratch. What do you want to build, Hunter? I'm going to share that very, very soon.
Pool cleaning company is what he's building right now. A pool cleaning franchise.
Did you see the golden nuggets of wisdom I dropped on Tuesday's episode about Boat Cloud?
No, I didn't see that part.
Dude, okay. We got to talk about this real quick. All right. We got to talk about this because I went on a tangent researching this. All right. So I'm going to pull up a little chat GPT thread. You know what I'm saying? A little chat GPT tizzle. Give me 1 second. Refresh. Where is this at?
And if you're in my Discord community, will you meme this earth growing on my forehead for me, please? Screenshot that. Discord's been going off, by the way. It has been pure chaos in there.
Well, I'm banned apparently, so.
You're not banned. You got kicked because I thought it'd be funny, and then I was like, oh wait.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not.
Anyways, you're a dick. So I went on this little tangent exploring this thing because I came across this Boat Cloud thing and it was a piece of shit. And I was like, I wonder how many niche services like this exist. Okay. So we start talking about it. There's self-storage, marinas, camps, funeral homes, field services like towing, car washes, golf courses, etc. You scroll through this. I'm gonna scroll just a little bit here. Okay. So when we get down here to talk about the size of these markets, the self-storage market in terms of the shitty software that powers self-storage facilities, $2.5 billion market size. Okay. Towing and roadside services, 1.3 billion, right? These are crazy to me. Now, when you start unpacking funeral homes, $1.9 billion market, low competition. Okay. Yeah. It's crazy the amount of opportunity there is to go and say, you know what, I have taste. I'm going to design a really great experience. I'm going to fucking vibe code that shit. I'm going to build agents to distribute this and handle sales for me. And I'm just going to see what corners of this market I can tap into doing like totally unexpected things. Like who the fuck ever would think like, yo, I'm going to build software to help fucking run funeral homes.
It's so true, dude. And let me add to this because there's two things I want to say. I was talking to Ben Blumenrose last night of Designer Fund, right? And it's funny because he's big on his thesis being designers make incredible founders. But he's also big on saying designers, you don't have to build another damn design tool. You know, like one of his favorite companies in his portfolio, I don't know if favorite's the right word, but one of the companies he has a lot of conviction on who are killing it is a company called Ambrook, right? This company comes from some really talented engineers, some people who know craft really well. They looked at farmers who sit on tractors all day, who are sitting there dealing with these legacy ass pieces of software, who are very entrepreneurial. These guys are spending all their days listening to farmer podcasts, trying to increase margins, trying to figure out the next best seed to buy. And so Ambrook comes in and says, we're going to make the best in class products for farmers. And they're killing it. And I think there's a lot to be said about if you're somebody who's got good taste, you know how to build a really good product, and you can go into an industry like funeral homes and just absolutely kill anybody who thought funeral homes would be a great industry to get into, you would probably crush it.
Yep.
Now, the other side of that is, founder maker fit, which is something I've learned a lot about for me. I don't think I can do boring businesses like that. I think it's a different type of game. I think there are people who love purely the resource management lever pulling of this and like getting in there, building beautiful products, and then stepping back and then pulling the levers. And then I think you have people who like want to stay in the trenches and be a part of that thing that like they're kind of building for themselves to a degree. And I feel like the more and more I've thought about it, I fall into that latter camp, and I think you fall into the former camp, right?
No, I mean, like, I would say that historically, I want to build the things that excite me, right?
Mm,
But the more and more I go on my entrepreneurial journey, and we've talked about this in the past, it's kind of like I just want to really like I want to wake up, I want to work with people that I really enjoy, and I want to
mm,
feel like we're doing something where we have edge. Like the game is to find the edge in my
mhm.
opinion. And for example, if you were to tell me that I could find the edge by saying like, "Yo, we're going to work in I don't know, 2 week or month-long sprints to build a new service and brand from scratch, and then use an army of AI agents to fucking cold email the shit out of funeral homes and then build voice agents to do customer service, whatever. And that's going to put an extra 50 grand in my pocket a month.
Right.
That sounds fucking fun. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like at the end of the day, like I'm trying to just do the things that I enjoy, you know? So I don't know, man. Like I think finding the edge is exciting.
Like, look at this. This is for farmers and agriculture.
Hell yeah.
This is fucking beautiful, man.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like these people have probably had to deal with this spreadsheet amalgamation world for
Yeah.
years. And
Yeah.
in comes this craft heavy team that's like, guys, we're gonna make this so much nicer for you. And everybody in this industry just flock into these guys. Like, thank God that we have somebody who's making really good products and understands our problem space. And I agree. I think there's a ton of opportunity in that. Go into the mining industry. I'm sure they could
Dude.
use a whole ton of help, you know?
Yes. Dude, check this shit out. Are you ready? Here you go.
Let's see.
Here's your alternative. Tribute technology.
What is this?
This is I don't even know why are they telling me about whiteboard, but now they're talking to me about funeral director management software. That feels really
Yeah.
weird. But this
Yeah.
is look at this. Like this is the competition that's out there. And what I'm saying is like, would you want to run a business to where you're spending a lot of your personal time like fucking trying to sell into funeral homes? Absolutely not. Like, do I
Right.
want to spend my business thinking about obituaries? No. But if you're telling me that I can sit with my team and we can like rapid fire design some shit that's like best in class for that space, vibe code it, and then build agents to do all that work for us, and you're gonna just profit, like your margins are 99.9% profit.
Yeah.
I mean, like that seems like an opportunity right there.
Dude, there's a show right there, Hunter. Like following these craft
Yes.
teams building best in class products in completely non-sexy industries. That is like a whole thing right there.
Hold
I
on, hold
like
on.
it.
Can we call this out? Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. So Ethan Driscoll says, "Yo, I'm about to hit up Tribute Tech and pitch them. I assume, knowing that Ethan is a designer that runs like a little agency, that he means I'm going to pitch them on better design. Here's my challenge to that, Ethan.
Yeah.
Why fucking pitch them for a one-off like 10K project
Right.
to rent out your time when you could say, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking design it. I'm gonna get in the trenches with Cursor, and then I'm gonna go fucking use N8N to build some agents, connect into Clay, do some cold email, and I'm gonna see if I can scratch a little itch and sell to some funeral homes myself. Right?
And I want you to understand too who you're probably pitching to. You're probably pitching to some old heads who have money, who have a
Yes.
ton of domain experience and contacts. And that's basically what that business is built on. They
Yes.
don't give a shit about the product side because they don't believe it. They don't think it. They're like, what do you mean? I don't need a look at I've got this connection with all these people. You don't have this. I don't need
Yeah.
this. That's the thing you're up against. And if you manage to sell them, it is going to be a 10K project and they're going to be
Yeah.
one of your worst fucking clients. And it's going
Worst.
to end up looking like that probably anyway,
Anyway,
after
dude.
you're done with all the nitpicking feedback.
Plus, I have to imagine, like maybe maybe this is the wrong thing to say, but dude, I gotta imagine that like the homies that are owning funeral homes have got to be some like unscrupulous human beings, dude. Like they're fucking formaldehyding and chilling, dude. You know, I don't know. It's
They've
weird.
got some like second order like waste businesses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
They're
that's
like,
crazy,
yo,
man.
you got something to dispose, buddy? I got a burner
Meanwhile,
for you.
Meanwhile, and I'm loving what I've been seeing coming out of the design community. I always do. I will bring that to this show. Andy Allen, our boy, with the Not Boring camera release, bringing haptics, bringing sound effects. Man, I was using this last night, just playing with it. Took a picture of my dog. But I love the things he's got going on. Like everything he does, this has been months in or years, I think, in development. And again, this is a great example of somebody entering in really saturated spaces who is uh there's nothing extraordinary about these launches other than he just said, what if I did the boring thing extremely well in a very different way, right? There's art to this. I mean, he really brings haptics and sound effects to a new level. We could learn a lot from it. I love this. It's fun to play with. It's so satisfying and it's simple. And, you know, a different definition of what we consider boring. We're talking about boring industries. He's talking about just boring little app spaces that we think are whatever. Formaldehyde and chill. Well done, Jacob.
Dude, that's got to stick. That's going to the lore right there. That's going to the lore.
But I love this. I just love this new place of
Yeah.
prioritizing really great craft and software
Yeah.
across the board. And it's even getting and this isn't something I'll hold off on saying that. What I'm gonna say is, man, there are people out here doing software as art. Doing software as art. That's a weird statement, but like creating software as art. Have you seen these guys danger testing?
No.
They're dropping an app every Thursday, and it's almost like they're dropping Banksies, man. Like they're literally just creating an app, just a random ass thing every Thursday, just because they can. You can come in here, you can check out every app that they've got. This is called Glaze Your Friends. I don't know what this is, but they're saying, hey, we're not here to profit. We are dropping these kind of artful things, and every Thursday we've got a new one.
I don't
And
know
I
that I would
think,
describe this as artful,
but
but
they
this is
would.
cool.
But they would, and that's how they think about it. They're talking a lot about this in like an art installation capacity. Now, maybe there's a greater mission that I don't totally understand here because
Yeah.
I've only recently saw this like 2 days ago, shared by Mike Smith of Smith and Diction.
Yeah.
But this is really interesting. But more importantly, it does two things that I love. It's built on the basis of speed and craft, like just move quickly and ship, which I love that. But it's also really showing like, dude, look how much you can do now. Look how much you can accomplish. Like you could ship an app every Thursday. What are you guys doing? Why aren't you shipping every Thursday, everybody?
You
You know,
lazy fucks.
you lazy pieces. This stuff excites
Oh
me, man.
man.
I just love where all this is going. I was talking to Meng too last night. He told me something like we were talking about all of the things, but then at the end, we just started to talk a little bit about the parenting component. Like, what are you
Mm.
telling your kids, man? You know, and I was talking about how my son, he's got this windsurf and Unity workflow. He's having fun in it. He was talking about his son who was like generating all this stuff. Ben was talking about his daughter, and she was able to like scaffold up a coloring book that she wanted. And you know how it takes like 7 to 10 seconds for the image to load, and it's literally creating what you had in your head.
Yeah.
His daughter cares not about that. She's watching it load, and she's rolling her eyes, going, like, I have to wait for this to load. Like this is a dial-up JPEG again. And it's
Yeah.
so funny to watch the youths get their hands on this technology. But what Meng does is he says, hey, you want more screen time? You got to go create something real quick. And I was like,
Mm.
dude, that's a genius little loop. I
That
love that.
is. I like
I
that a
love
lot.
that.
Speaking of creating real quick,
Yep.
can we talk about something crazy?
I want to hear it. What is this?
Specifically, let's talk about Flux Context.
Yeah.
This thing is insane. Like, have you played with Flux Context yet?
No, no. I did it inside of Weevai and inside of Flora briefly.
Dude, it is. Let's go. I'm gonna pull an image real quick. I wanna vibe out. I'm gonna do some Stranger Thingy stuff. Let's see.
Flux Context had an update recently, correct?
That is what we're talking about. Yeah, we're talking about the
Okay,
update that came out.
yeah, it's the update. Got it, got it.
Yeah, yeah, on the 29th, I think. So just a
I
few
have
days
not
ago.
played with this update.
Brother. It is wild. Let me find a good reference image for us. I got Stranger Things in my head for some reason. Let's do
Comes
large.
out pretty soon, guys.
Dude, I think I'm gonna do a full rewatch.
I'm a fan. I like the Stranger Things. It's got the D&D elements. It's got the old
Yeah,
nostalgic stuff. I love it.
yeah. It's a vibe for sure. Let's see. Let's find a good reference image here. Vecna, we could do some of that. Okay, here we go.
A lich, for those who don't know, one of the most dangerous liches in D&D lore.
I don't know what that means, but
That's why
that's
I'm here.
cool.
That's why I got you. I got you.
What is a lich?
A lich is an undead, just below a god entity. They have to go through a whole sacrificial ritual to get there, and it's like 50-50 if it even works. Either you die or you become a supreme being. They can't die right away. You have to destroy them, and then you have to destroy their phylactery. Yeah. Oh, I
Oh,
got the lore, ladies and gentlemen. This is Vecna right here on my wall.
oozy. I'm just gonna say oozy. I don't know what that means. Let's let it generate an image real quick from the reference. Yo,
This is Barovia, by the way, D&D lore. Let me see this. By the way, in my Discord, someone posted an image of me. I don't know if they used context.
brother,
And
look how
me,
fast that was.
anyone who is ethnically ambiguous like me has always gone through AI having a hard time trying to like re-image you.
Dude, this is insane.
And recently it's gotten very good at re-imaging me. Wow.
Like,
That's crazy.
it's crazy. And
Now hold on. Throw some photos. Let's get Petter in there. Let's get you in there. Let's put me in there.
oh man, that's a lot of work. I gotta go find all those images.
Just screenshot us on the show.
No, dude. But the point is, like, you can generate some crazy stuff in here and then take it to an upscaler and like really level up the stuff that you're creating. It's just
So
crazy. And
that's what you guys are using for thumbnails, yeah?
yeah, we use a mixture of different things. But my question here is, like, between that and then between VO3, Higgs field, um, it's funny because it feels like we really do all have the ability to open up our laptop and suddenly we have like a full on Hollywood production studio. And my question is, like, what do you do with it? Like, we all have this. Who's doing interesting stuff with it?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. Is anybody in chat doing interesting stuff with this? Are you willing to share? Open up the kimono. Let us critique. Also, where did you get your shirt?
This one?
Yeah, it looks like it has some Basquiat vibes.
OAS, baby.
OAS.
Yeah.
Original ass shirt.
There you go. I don't know what it stands for. It's a
Okay.
good brand. I like it. Elizabeth says ethnically ambiguous. LOL. That's the best way I know how to describe it. All right. No one knows, including AI, what I am. We're going to keep it that way. They're like, what are you? Like, I'm human. Okay. I'm not robot. That's all you need to know.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Dude, you know what? This is a good idea. Between VO3 and the new 11 labs, I could just clone you.
You could. And you know how many hours of clonable content are on the internet of me now?
Infinite. I got all
It's
I
going to
need.
happen. It is going to happen. You only need, you need like 2% of it, and you've got exactly what you need.
I have an idea. I have an idea.
I don't want to do it. Don't. I
have
already
an idea.
already in my videos, I get accused. Are you AI? I'm like, no. Why? What about this feels and looks and he sounds like AI right now? Like,
I'm just gonna I'm gonna have Tommy calling in on Tuesdays. There's gonna be no video. It's just gonna be the voice.
You motherfucker. So I am officially not on Tuesdays, guys, and it sounds like that's not the case anymore. I'm back on Tuesdays.
Maybe. Maybe we might do an episode Tuesday to where we recreate Tommy.
Uh,
Speaking of quick random news, I don't know what to make of this. Jay announced that this is his last week at Verscell.
I saw that. It's very sad. A couple folks actually. Somebody else did the same. I can't remember who they were. You know, Jay really he let us know. He's like, dude, Verscell's a huge company. And that was the first time I actually considered like, wait, how big is Verscell?
Big.
I didn't know they were that big. I knew they
Yeah.
were like not small. I just didn't know they were like that big.
Yeah. They're like a couple hundred million in revenue, lots of people,
That's pretty
lots of
nuts.
infrastructure. Yeah.
They've given, I think there's going to be like this alumni group that comes out of Verscell and then just goes off to just ship bangers, dude. You know?
The Verscell Mafia.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Marco, too. Yeah. I think that's who I saw. So AI getting trained on Tommy's voice. I know people already think my voice is AI. Guys, it's the mic and it's a lot of bad habits in my 20s in the military. A lot of cigarettes. Don't do it. It's bad. Not good.
Yuck.
Yuck.
Never done that.
Really? Never in your time in the old military there?
I've never smoked
never.
a cigarette. I've never even tasted a cigarette.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
a good thing to be
You
able
want
to
to hear
say.
a funny teenage story? The other morning, I think it was like last weekend, I think, or something like that, or maybe it was this week. I don't know. I woke up in the middle of the night because our 2-year-old is sick. He's coughing, whatever. I got to go tend to him, and I come out and I can see all the way across my house, and like all the lights in the second living room are like on, and then my teenager's lights are all on, and I can hear his phone like looping TikTok, and I'm like, oh fuck, let me turn all this off. So I'm going over there to turn off all these lights, and I walk in his room, and he's just passed out on the bed, and there's a vape pen right in front of his face.
No.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, you little motherfucker, you're dead.
No.
And so I get it. And I'm like, please tell me this is THC. You know what I mean? Like you'll be in less trouble if it's THC. Nope. It was a straight up nicotine vape pen.
Ooh.
And I was like, yeah, you're a dead man when you wake up.
Yeah.
So that was fun. I got to have a lot of fun with that one.
I was gonna say that would be, man. I saw someone post too, and they were like, at the intersection of art and creativity, and it was like a vape pen with this like beautiful UI, and I was like, oh my god, dude, like that's crazy.
That's what it was. This thing had a UI. It had
Yeah.
a screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nuts, man. These like disposable devices with these beautiful UIs shipping faster than these automobiles and their UIs. You know, like it's nuts, man.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
What'd you do? You make him go build some stuff?
We're not going to talk about it. We're not gonna talk about it.
He lost a few years on his life. Okay. I like it. But meanwhile, we've got Yuki, and again, I'm going to show a little design thing here, but this blew me away. This might actually be one of the most impressive ways I've seen AI get used to create a portfolio. So he says he uses Framer, Spline Tool, and Claude. I want to see this workflow. You know what I mean? A formaldehyde vape pen. Basically, right? Let's just take a peek, a little gander here. All right, this guy's on the design and maps team at Uber. And what you're doing right now is just experiencing his portfolio. I don't think I'm controlling anything. Am I? Oh, hold on. Where's the work? Where's the work? Oh, I am. I scroll it. Bro.
There is no work, right? I thought that was the point of this.
It's scrollable.
Yeah, but there's no case studies, right?
Maybe I misunderstood the case study part. What are we seeing in the video here? Yeah. This is nuts to me, dude. This whole creation, like this is the kind of things we can think up. And I want to know, like, I actually just want to talk to him and be like, how did you combine Framer, Spline, and Claude? So Claude, built out probably some custom components inside of Framer, which by the way, isn't even necessary anymore. If you use Framer Workshop, Lee Black is about to release something he said is nuts for the mobile phone that he built entirely in Framer Workshop. I cannot wait to see that. But this kind of stuff, man, like it is summertime, guys. All right. If you are not out there playing with the tools, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're smoking vape pens, passing out with TikTok on your face?
Dude. Hmm.
You playing with it? What are you looking at?
I was playing with it. It's interesting. It's really interesting. I don't know if it's my favorite. It's
No.
cool. You know,
What's your favorite there, Hot Shot?
probably still Rio OS is probably the best.
Well,
Like,
I mean, listen, that's fair. That's fair. That's
you
different.
know,
That's
yeah, it's
different.
different. Is it though? It's both. They're both like conceptual, like personal portfolio kind of
Rio's
things.
cloning himself, man. All right, it's different.
I guess. I guess. You know what I was thinking about the other day? We're probably our parents' generation is probably the last generation that won't have digital clones.
That won't have digital clones.
Yes, I would 100% expect that by the time I die, there will be a digital, like there will be a product that allows me to essentially clone myself, like give it all my memories, whatever, so future generations can interact with me.
What is
100%.
the what are some of the like use cases that would make you want to clone yourself digitally?
How much do you know about your great grandfather?
My great grandfather, not a lot.
But you only exist because of
Ah,
him, right? You
what was
only
that?
exist because he existed.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that would be interesting. You know, I think
yeah.
that's a really interesting use case is like, hey,
Digital family tree,
yeah,
like encyclopedia stuff.
yeah. I
That's
want
kind
to
of cool.
I want to
That
talk to my family tree. Yeah. Yeah.
wow, that's an interesting, wild idea. This is a dystopian world, though, in the future, right? Where we just have to be totally okay with, and maybe we've already passed this point here. Just like know everything about me, database owners.
Let's play a game. Let's play a game. Let's play a game. Let's play a game.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna play a game. I want you to ask me a question, Tommy. Think of a question to ask me. Okay. We're gonna do this live. We didn't prepare for this.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So we're just gonna play this game. Okay. I'm gonna open ChatGPT. I'm gonna start a new thing. Oh, 03. Okay. Tommy, ask a question that you would ask me.
What do you think is more important in the first 90 days, speed or quality?
Ooh, okay. Using everything you know about me, answer this question as if you were me.
Okay.
What is most important to you in the first 90 days of building a company? Speed or quality? All right, let's let O3 think about it for 1 second. And we got to remember too that like ChatGPT memory is in its infancy, right? So if you extrapolate this in terms of a few million tokens and really spending a lot more time with it, all these things, and then you imagine that 11 Labs is clone my voice. Let me give it a different set of rules. Hold on. Answer only in the format of a like written response. So imagine that a friend just emailed me this and I'm responding to them in paragraph format, very simple, personal tone, very casual language, as if I was speaking, right? So remove all of your forced formatting and answer it that way. All right, here we go. Let's see what it says. Honestly, in the first 3 months, I'm all about speed, specifically the speed at which we can learn from real users. I'll hack together whatever ugly but functional version gets a live product in someone's hands because every day we're not collecting feedback is compounding lost insight. That said, I keep a hard line on anything the customer actually sees. The landing page, onboarding flow, and core interaction have to feel trustworthy and not janky. Otherwise, we burn credibility and can't buy back. You know, whatever. Yeah, I mean, would you rate that as being something it seems like I would
Representative?
say?
I asked the same thing of mine. I was curious. But I
Yeah, yeah.
hear what you're saying, dude. This is it would be interesting to get that kind of wisdom passed down. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, imagine a scenario to where like somebody built a let's think even 12 months from now.
Mhm.
Imagine foundation models are 12 months smarter, right? And there's an experience that said, "Hey, like, you know, we're going to collect your life story and it has a series of prompts, and it's asking you these questions, and you're giving it like long, detailed answers about things. And it's asking you maybe some matrix of questions about how you think about certain scenarios. Maybe it's got some psychological profile they can create. It's like, what would you do in this instance? What would you do in this instance? Let me think about this memory over here, or whatever. And you're answering it, and you invest some time in doing it, and it clones your voice. I guarantee you, you're gonna get. I mean, if you're dead, and it's like your great grandchild that's talking to you, they're not going to know that isn't 100% you.
Yeah.
I feel like that's inevitable. That's going to happen within the next 2 years.
You know what? I don't disagree. I think it's interesting to see. I mean, I think memory is truly like the feature of memory was game changing and continues to be leveraged. I think Sam Altman just came out this week and said, hey, free users now get a version of memory as well. And so they're making it just table stakes. And when memory becomes table stakes for every AI, like everybody trying to incorporate some version of memory, this is, by the way, and you saw me tweet about this, what's bugging the absolute crap out of me for Superhuman. Like I'm so spoiled right now from all these apps that have memory and context and all these things. And I can't ask Superhuman, hey, remember that Nike receipt from April? Can you find it? And it just shits the bed, man. And that reminds me, Raul got in my DMs and was asking me about it. I told him I'd make him a loom, but I need to because Superhuman is so stunted right now. And I need my email client to be better for memory. Memory has become table stakes. And I can only imagine what memory is going to look like, how it evolves with us in our tools over the next 6-12 months.
I think it's going to be nuts, dude. I think it's going to be nuts.
Someone just posted they made a dad GPT since his dad passed when he was young. Yeah, see, yeah, man.
I mean, it's almost like, all the presidents from Futurama that are just like the heads in the little glass cases,
Right.
in the little formaldehyde cases. It's basically that,
Yeah. That's a crazy concept. That is an absolutely crazy. And Apple has the voice replication feature. If you know, you may lose your voice soon.
Yeah,
that I
the
didn't
11
know.
Labs voice clone feature is even more nuts.
I did not know that. China, by the way, just banned Apple AI currently. If you saw this, which I thought was interesting. Waiting for Apple to get in there. Apple partnering with Claude, Apple partnering with a lot of folks. Those partnerships are going to yield more AI fruit for Apple than Apple's own in-house products, man. Apple's one of those brands that I just trust, I buy, I like. And now I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know anymore if that's the case. All the time.
With all these new tools out, do either of you have a tool you think is overrated for what it is? Yeah, I mean, most of them.
I think most of them are overrated for the hype, but I think that's not the metric I'm using right now this year.
How about Notion? JK.
There are things I like about Notion. There are things I continue to use about it, but I'll tell you what, man, Linear is my dog. Slack, Linear, InFlight by Rid, guys. I cannot wait for InFlight to evolve into what it is clearly about to become. I think InFlight is going to be so much more than what the tool it is initially starting as, which is this feedback mechanism. And InFlight, I think, is going to become a source of truth for knowledge, the way like Granola has the potential to be, the way Linear has the potential to be, Slack. Yeah, InFlight is sick.
I'm curious why you think that, especially after OpenAI just announced that they're going to be tapping into all these other sources, recording your meetings.
Well, I'm saying, who's going to win in that space? I'm not saying that InFlight's going to be the top winner. What I'm saying is InFlight is going to live very specifically in that space. If I were to guess, now Rid has not said this to me, but he has shown me lots of directional stuff they're going. I'm not saying anything I'm not saying anything I'm not supposed to be saying. I'm sharing my opinion. And I think what's really interesting is builders, when we look at tools like feedback mechanisms, basically anything that can live in the productivity space while also facilitating knowledge transfer and communication really excites me right now. Like, I didn't realize how interesting that space would be to me until I started to really see the value in granola, and now seeing the value in something like in-flight where, I mean, if you're like me, Hunter, and you spend a huge, I've accidentally become a creative director, and that's a large part of what I do now. I wake up, I give feedback to 5 different people on my team in a variety of ways, Slack, Linear, Figma. And if that's you, and I think a lot of people are going to become that role, especially as this continues to go the direction it's going, tools like
Mm,
InFlight are going to be such enablers, man. Such
yeah.
enablers.
I mean, I agree. I think though that like I want to talk about an alternative approach real quick,
Okay.
right? Going back to this stupid boat idea, but let's talk about the cool version of that. Okay. In-flight is cool, and I love Red, and I love what they're doing. But I look at these things and I'm thinking like, why one tool? Like why like unless you're building something that's like clearly the future of a workflow, you're building the cursor, or you're trying to build the paper or the magic path or the Higgs field or whatever. Um, why just one tool that serves a single purpose? It's like it's too easy for disruption,
No, no,
right?
no. So you're thinking about it incorrectly. And that's what I'm saying. Right now, InFlight looks like one tool. But imagine like why do we have to prompt anything? Like why do we have to manually create the prompts? Why can't the prompts just manifest from the source of truth? And that's the thing that I think you might be missing here, which is like if you give a bunch of feedback to your team who are the producers, why can't that feedback just immediately with a little bit of human like direction, like the designer or the developer like takes it and it just and turns it into the next iteration? Why does that not exist? Why do I
Well,
have to be the steward of that feedback and then turn it into a prompt and do the whole thing? Why can't I just give the feedback and it goes into the production cycle?
well, theoretically it should, but like, is that what
Right.
InFlight's building? Right?
That's the direction I think it will go. Is that what they're trying to build? I don't know. But that's the direction I see a vision of a few iterations down the road potentially turning into. I don't know if that's what Rid's trying to build. But that to me, yeah,
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is like I'm not really talking about in-flight as much as I'm talking about like why
singular
right
tool.
now, if it's so easy to ship things, why would you, unless you have deep crazy fucking conviction in what you're doing is going to be powering the future of a workflow, why not just basically build an app studio? You know, like the example we were showing earlier where they're shipping every 7 days. Why aren't
Right.
you just building an app studio and saying we're shipping every month? We're shipping something really ambitious, really high quality that plugs a need in somebody's day or their team or whatever it is, but we're shipping something every month, right?
I don't know that I subscribe yet. I think the speed and the shipping cadence and the ability to just be nimble and launch an entirely new offering on top of your base offering is what excites me. I think the idea of trying to ship a multi-product, multi-industry tackling studio right now today, I don't think I subscribe to it yet because I don't think it's nearly quite there the way you believe it is yet. I haven't seen anybody doing it. I think
I'm
we
gonna fucking
talk a
do
lot
it.
about
I'm
it
gonna do
and
it. I'm gonna do it.
you subscribe to it, but I haven't seen people actually meaningfully ship like
I'm gonna
2
do it.
products in
I'm gonna do it.
completely unrelated spaces that just
I'm gonna
kill.
do it. I'm gonna do it.
Well, I
That's
no,
all I
no,
can say. I'm
I
gonna
have
do it.
full faith that you can do it. I'm
I'm
just saying
doing
I
it.
haven't seen the example yet,
I'm doing it.
you know? And
I
I
just told
think
myself I'm doing it.
okay,
I,
I
I'm
like it.
I'm
Well,
I'm saying I'm doing it because you're saying I don't know, and I'm saying I'm gonna fucking prove you. I'm gonna be the Pietro Serrano who's tweeting out like you don't need to use Figma anymore, and everybody's like fuck you, yeah you do, and he's like okay, let me prove you wrong. I'll build Magic Path. I'm
but
doing it.
But I think there's still a lot of value in staying focused. Like if you focus on an industry, a problem space, but can now ship around that space faster than anybody.
Yes, I think it needs to be a vertical slice, right?
Yes.
Like I don't think it's like this month we're launching OnlyFans and next month we're launching LinkedIn. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
It's got to be a vertical slice where it's like, hey, we're right now we're okay. Fuck, I'm gonna spoil myself. So we're working on this. We're gonna announce it soon. It's called Service OS. It is a collection of products for teams that work in service, right? So agencies, things like that. but it's a collection of vertical slices of products that can be integrated together or they can be standalone, but they all exist within one broader focus area, right? So you're thinking holistically about what are the problems that this kind of team and this kind of industry runs into, and what are the potential solutions that serve them. And I think doing that, you get to maintain focus while also diversifying your bets.
So, like, I've been looking at Every's model, and I want it
Mm.
to work. It is not interesting to me as I look at what they're doing and how they're doing. And I'm like, I don't use these tools, and I should be the one using these tools, but they're not hitting for me. And so the only other mental model of extreme success when I hear you describe that is fucking Salesforce. And I'm like, I don't fucking want that either. You know? And so
Atlassian.
it's like who's going to come in and be the craft where they make this work at like a clip that is impressive. And that's what I haven't seen yet, and I think we will see it. I do think we will see it. It's just that's interesting territory. That is interesting territory to venture into.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I think Atlassian's a good example, but don't really like their
A good
stuff
example of what?
of taking a focus area and building a ton of different tools in it.
Well, so like again, so is Salesforce.
Yeah,
Is it a good product? And then when you start to get into the definite, well, what's a good product? Well, they make a shit ton of money. Okay, I guess it's a good product. But is it
I
a
mean,
good like Notion? Is it a good product? Right? I'll flip that. Like, is Notion's covering a wide gamut of use cases? Hunter, is Notion a good product? Is Atlassian a good product?
listen, listen,
Is
listen, listen,
Jira a
listen.
good product? Is
This is
Con
where we
are you
differ.
over there jamming up Confluence
Fuck
docs?
no, but this is where we differ. This is where we have a difference of opinion. I don't personally. Okay, look. In a perfect world, you're making both a bunch of money and building a great product,
Sure.
right? But just because I don't use Jira because I think linear is better, I mean,
Doesn't
hundreds and
they have some
thousands of
loyal
teams
fucking they have hardcore
run on
users for
Jira.
sure.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? When I look up what's the net worth of Atlassian's founders, the answer is $13 billion each. So, like, do they really fucking care if you think linear looks cooler and has more
Correct.
keyboard shortcuts?
Correct. Yeah, for sure. And that's and so I'm not knocking that. Like I'm not gonna come here and say they're not good like they are the thing we hold up and say, look at what they were able to achieve. For
Yeah.
me though, it's like in this next era of being able to create products quickly, well then if creating the product itself is not the hard part, but creating differentiated products is where we think this is going to be the how winners and losers are chosen. And maybe that's not like distribution might be who knows what the moats are, right?
I think it's
But the
niche,
question is
dude.
like how do you create I like how Ethan says it. How do you create the Apple of productivity tools?
Yeah. I think that what we're going to see in the future, I have a lot of thoughts on this, but I'm gonna keep some of them to myself. But what I think we're going to see is that you'll find really opinionated software becomes more and more niche and takes over, right?
Right.
And we've for a long time we've talked about like opinionated software. And you say, "Oh, we design opinionated software." But it's like for example, Linear describes themselves as opinionated software. But now when you open Linear and you open that settings panel, it does 10,000 fucking things. And you can
Yeah, yeah.
configure it 10,000 different ways. I would argue that like you have some really good keyboard shortcuts and it's fast and it feels nice to use, but it doesn't feel opinionated to me anymore. The only people that I think have stood the test of time about building deeply opinionated software are the 37 Signals guys. Like Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansen, I fucking almost hate everything they build, but I absolutely love the way they build it. You know what I mean? Like it is opinionated as can be, right? And I saw some video of Jason Fried, love him, talking about how like, oh my God, like we belabored over these design decisions for this new tool we're building. It's called like Frizz or something like that. And he's explaining like how hard it was for them to design it. And all it is two fucking columns of like, maybe we're gonna work on this and we're working on this. I'm like, great, dude, you created a 2-column Kanban board. Like and it's ugly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, what do you want me to say? But I think we're going to see that as you can essentially just like build anything and the amount of options of tools that you have to use expands infinitely. people are going to gravitate towards really opinionated solutions that feel really niche. They might not be the biggest businesses, but they're going to be great for like indie hackers and small teams of 1 or 2 people. And people are going to make a nice living for a decent amount of
I was going
time,
to
which
say, and
is
that's the biggest point, right? Like we look at the sales force and how much money and GDP and all the things that they're able to contribute and spread around, and that's fantastic. But they have to do that. They have to make those plays and they have to bring in that amount of revenue because of what's required to keep them going. Whereas I think in the new world, you're going to be able to be niche and small as a team and to continue to be sustainable because of that, because the size that requires to stay competitive is not what it once was. And that part's interesting to me. Um, and I think there's something there to be said about loss leading around brand, loss leading up front around, hey, we're going to nail some of this motion. We're going to nail some of these elements that really make this more than just a 2-column Kanban board. Like we're doing some interesting haptic stuff, or we're doing some interesting, sit on top of the operating system stuff. We're doing, now I'll say this. We want to talk about tools getting into kind of this productivity. They've got the vertical slice, but they're going wide. Hey, man, Perplexity, dude. And this is what I'm talking about. They've got the labs. They've got the ability to create this stuff, surfacing data, a knowledge base. Oh, by the way, Comet coming out. Oh, by the way, other things cooking background. And that to me, and they're doing it in my opinion. I know you've said you're not a huge fan of some of the UI. The more I use Perplexity, and there are a couple things I have gripes with, but overall, if you can get past the fact that it's like a gray colorway, I really think it's a well-designed product. I really
it is
do.
well.
And I'm very
I've never
curious to
knocked the
see
design of Perplexity.
someone did. Someone on the show, or yeah, you did. I think you've said oh, it was Brett. It was Brett. Sorry.
I think Perplexity is beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful even.
Yeah, I think Perplexity is everything about Perplexity's design is great. But the more I've thought about Perplexity, and by the way, Perplexity is your new Unicorn Studio.
They are 100% all day. And
everybody still references Unicorn Studio and it makes fun of you for it, but no, guys. His new Unicorn Studio is Perplexity.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Perplexity has
still
no
love Unicorn
choice.
Studio, by the way. Yeah.
They have no choice but to do what they're doing because they're not a foundation model provider. All they are is an interface layer. That's it.
Yeah.
And so when you're sitting at that interface layer, you have no choice but to move at fucking breakneck speed to create new experiences that hopefully lock people in, be clever about how you're distributing, be clever about the cult that you're building to lock in users, or you're going to get fucking toasted, you know? Yeah. And honestly, I think that they're executing on that better than anybody.
Yeah. And I think they recognize that because I mean, even Sam Altman has come out and said, "Hey, man, like you try to compete with us in some of the spaces we're in, you're gonna get steamrolled. So you need to find the vertical slice that you're gonna compete in because that's where we can be synergetic. But if you try to compete in some of these other areas, you're just not going to do it, right? Like and it's interesting that that's the call out. Now, is Perplexity?" Is there like modeling in the background maybe that they can eventually have access? I don't know, but I agree with you. I think, and we saw someone make this mention. I think it was Guillermo Rauch of Verscell last week or something, who may have said, "You're just one interface pattern away from being like a killer product in this space right now." And I think that's where a lot of folks are indexing, and I think it's the right move. I think a lot of people. I think if you listened to the bubble on X that said, "Oh, you're just a GPT wrapper," like, don't listen to those guys. And if you have a CEO or a founder who ever said that shit, fucking do not invest into them. Don't look at them. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Guys,
that's how I view that.
Let's keep it real. Cursor is a fucking GPT wrapper, and they're doing $500 million in revenue.
Whoever thought they were being clever on the internet that said, "Oh, you're just a GPT wrapper," is getting kicked in the dick right now because everybody that's winning today was a GPT wrapper. You know what I mean?
Yes. I think that's right. 100%.
My theory is there's going to be some niche research lab with the new browser and stuff prepped for something way bigger. Yeah, 100%. I think that's an evolutionary take that makes sense.
Speaking of new browser, where the fuck is our invite to Dia?
Dude, I've been waiting. And so what's interesting is I've dug into this. They are investing so heavily into the student market. Perplexity is too. Notion is creating. So there's a number of tooling and products out there. Windsurf is doing this. and they there's this underbelly that I don't think we are super aware of unless you start cracking it open. Money is going towards marketing to students right now.
Why?
Big time initiatives. And it's across tooling. Dia, Perplexity, Windsurf. Money is going towards students in a pretty big fast clip here, and I think that's an interesting thing to index on. Faye, interesting. Didn't know that.
My question though is like all these students are about to have no fucking jobs and no money.
Are you setting money aside for traditional education, university, for the kiddos?
I mean,
I mean, I'm sure you're setting money aside to help set them up and stuff, but I mean, are you like, how are you thinking about that conversation, man? Because I'm having it right now with my 17-year-old.
dude, I don't even know.
That's how that look on your face right now is exactly how and I'm sure plenty of other parents are feeling right now.
It's so hard. I think
Yeah.
right now it's so hard to say, yo, you got to go to college. It's so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's like the main selling points for me of school is like, go get yourself around a bunch of other builders who are just trying stuff, because I don't know a metaphor that exists where you can get something structured like that. Like,
Yeah.
until someone creates just the Builder Academy, or something to that degree, I like, what else is there? I don't think university traditional curriculum's necessarily the right way to do it, but there's all these second order effects around it that still maybe make it worthwhile. Like, you get a 25% chance at actually getting your ROI. It's tough, man.
Yeah. I don't know. How do you feel about this comment?
Browser company fumbled the bag, ditched their loyal Arc Power users to chase students who don't even know what the brand is. Yeah, listen, I gave a big take. I wrote a whole thing about it. Mainly, I'm butthurt that I've been such an advocate of Arc, such an advocate. And I kind of get bummed out when I really beat the drum, especially today now that I've got influence. I get bummed out if I beat the drum of a product I really love, and I don't even get like an opportunity to talk to someone on your team about it. Like, let's talk about it. Like, show me what you're working on. I'm so excited for you guys. Where's the community respect? Where is the appreciation for the people out here using your product? Super users who want to talk about it all the time. I got pissed off. I had a whole post about this with Sketch saying the exact same thing. Founder came in my comments, I came in the comments, came in the DMs. We were talking a little bit about it. And I respect some of the opinions that the Sketch founders had on this, which kind of feels like there might have been some stuff behind the scenes. Also feels like they're taking the 37 Signals approach. But I look at Josh Miller over at Browser Company, and I'm just like, dude, you have just discarded so many of your loyal fans. At this point, I'm just like, fuck Dia, man. I don't care about you guys. You don't give a shit about me. Fuck you guys.
Let me ask you this though, just play devil's advocate. You still use Arc?
I do right now. Yeah.
Okay. So you still prefer it over Chrome?
The only reason I use Arc right now is because it's beneficial for our show format. If I'm totally honest with you, I would stop using Arc if it didn't have this ability for me to better organize. And I guess I can move over to like Zen or some of these other spin-offs, but I am waiting.
You want to use the Firefox engine with Zen?
Oh, fuck Firefox, dude. I
Okay.
can't stand
So are you going to go
yeah.
back to Chrome and your horizontal tabs?
Yeah, I'm not. And that's why I'm like,
Are you
dude,
going to use Safari?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
So like here, this is the thing I went through because I'm like, fuck you, Arc. I'm leaving. And you know what browser I'm using right now? I'm fucking using Arc.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they did give us what I think is the best browser right now. And all they did is they said, hey guys, hey, we're not going to take it away from you. You get to keep it. We're just not going to work on it. Okay. And it's like, okay, fuck you. Like, why not? But then I'm like, oh, hold on. Like, what more work did I need you to do? It's already better than everything else.
My beef is not with their decision on how they're handling Arc itself. My beef is with how they handled sunsetting it and how they've handled their community. That's my
But they
main
haven't
beef.
sunset it. That's the thing.
Well,
They haven't
I'm
sunset
not sunset it, but what I mean is how they've handled the respect of their community. And I think I have valid arguments around that, right? Like, that's all.
do.
Like, listen, dude, and it's a low, and because the problem is it's such a low hanging fruit for them to have just like nodded in our direction. Like
Yeah.
we're not asking for any much here. You know what I mean? We're just like, hey Josh, you love to make fucking videos, dude. Where's the moment where you just recorded a little thing for a little old us, your fans? You know, you made us connect with you so much. You made us rah buy into your vision, and then you just said, "Oh, never mind. As long as it was only worth it to go to market. It wasn't worth it to actually talk to you guys. Fuck you." It's like, okay, cool. Now here's the thing. You're right. I'm using Arc right now.
Yeah.
But if you were to ask me 5 years ago if I was going to be willing to move off of my browser of choice, I would have been hard pressed to say yes. But
Mm.
right now, fuck yeah, dude. Give me like something with an Arby's sandwich. I'm ready to rock off of
Yeah.
Arc. Like
Dude, hold
Comet,
on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Are you an Arby's guy?
not really, but I used to be.
Dude, the
They got that red sauce. They got that I don't know what the red sauce is.
bro, the
And
rare
little
times that
horseradish
I
kind
get
of thing
fast
going on.
food, I'm a sucker for Arby's.
Oh,
Okay.
I'll kill an Arby's sandwich.
I'm
I'll kill an
fucking
Arby's sandwich.
smashing Arby's.
They don't got
Real
them
quick
around
though,
here as much anymore. They've like shut it down.
I hear everything you're saying. And I think to sum it up really quickly, like they came out, they built a cult following for Arc. Everybody's like, oh my God, you're so communicative. You're doing these great videos. Like, we love you. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey guys, guess what? Fuck you. Here's Dia. And you're like, what? Like, hold on.
I don't even care that they decided to go in the. I was like I was even cheering for Dia. I was like in the face of people who kind of got upset about the product decision, which I'm not upset about. But it's like if Perplexity decided to 180 on their
Yes.
community engagement. But like it's one thing if they're like, hey guys, here's the reasons we have to 180 on the community thing. Here's what we learned about brand. Here's like what we've learned about loss leading in this area. I'd be like, okay, like bummed out, kind of sucks. Arc just went fucking ghost. And it was like, dude, what? You know, like you couldn't set a weekend aside to just address it. Like that was just not even worth it to you.
You know what though? You know what? I want to call this out though. Everybody's saying like Josh dropped an article though. Yes, we saw
He
this.
did. I read it.
We saw this. We read it. That's what we're talking about. Is that he goes to everybody before he dropped the article. But hold on, I want to take a moment though, because you know who didn't fuck over their community? Boom. This dude. Can we
This was
talk about
nice.
this real quick?
This
All right.
was
So
nice.
shout out
I
Bolt.
saw this. I have this pulled
Obviously
up too.
sponsor the show. This is our ad roll. Dude, the fact that Bolt is rolling tokens over is insane. And I'm delighted to see them doing
Huge.
this
Huge.
for the first time in the space. This makes my heart happy, especially as they're doing the hackathon and they're doing all this push for the community. Did you sign up for the hackathon? Did you
I did sign up for the
builder pack?
hackathon. I'm not doing it. Oh, are you asking? Did someone else ask that?
I'm just asking if you got your builder pack.
I have my builder pack. I haven't, but I'm not really going to make use of it. I thought I was, then I thought I wasn't, and I've gone back and forth. I was going to have my son do some stuff with it. They have a Twitter community. The hackathon has a build in public community. I recommend if you are participating in this to go join it. I'm combing through this to find cool stories of builders.
Yes,
we're
we're gonna have
early
some
on.
builders on.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some builders on. We're gonna have Eric Simon, CEO of Bolt, on very, very soon.
Yeah.
To talk about how the hackathon's going and what's the latest news with Bolt. But yeah, man, seeing them do the tokens rolling over, it was just such a good community move.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm not saying this because Bolt sponsors the show and I like Eric. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this objectively. Okay. I feel like Lovable has really kind of recently dropped the ball on how they're treating their brand and their community. And they seem kind of like, I get this arrogant European weird vibe from Lovable lately, whereas Bolt seems to be everywhere and Eric is just fucking showing up to interviews, backward hats, running marathons, rolling over tokens, doing $1 million hackathons. And he's just a bro. He's just a dude, you know?
I think
what I like you guys.
Well, and I think what we're seeing, man, and it goes back to this theme of this show, this episode, which is really around like branding, how you handle and treat your community with respect, showing up. This is the thing, dude. The legacy way of thinking from the CEO to the CMO is like, oh, we're not going to invest into that because the ROI immediately isn't apparent. It's like, dude, it's more apparent now. If you're willing to just give it 3 fucking months, it's going to yield dividends. Like this is going to be important and your community's paying attention. But if you come out swinging, you do the temporary thing, you make some hot takes on Twitter, you participate in the build wars, and then you fucking ghost, or you act like you're hot shit, it's not going to last here. You got to make lasting impact. You can't just create a little directory where you showcase your users. You can't just participate in a little Zeitgeist kind of build war thing. Like, you got to show up from product down to the community. And I think what Eric's done is just there's kind of something I'm noticing, and you can kind of start to see these trends. Like, I think you and I started to see early on Lovable was taking kind of a short
Excited.
short-term view of how to get to the communities, right? They're just kind of like, didn't seem like they were really placing stakes yet. And listen,
No.
there's room for them to turn that around. Like, that is, I also want to call this out. Companies, if you're like in that position, there's still plenty of room for you to be like, yeah, you know what? We're going to course correct. We want to be legit. We want to be sincere. And I think the sincerity, this is the other thing you're starting to notice. These companies who operate with sincerity are starting to move together. Look at Contra, Framer, Bolt. The three of them are really starting to synergize around one another. And I think that's really interesting. And it's telling, because companies, I think, in addition to distribution, in addition to personality, companies, because software is starting to just become so many options, are starting to flock in values, right? Value-based companies are starting to rock with each other. And I like that too. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think that's true, man. I think the other thing we're seeing, you have this kind of macro view right now on fundraising, right?
Mm.
You've got Lovable, who's raised a very small amount of money. I think they raised like 17 million. And they're doing some around 40 million ARR, whatever it is. And then you have Bolt, who's, I believe, still doing more in revenue than Lovable, probably now with the hackathon by a decent amount. But they also raised $100 million. And you could raise $100 million and you could take huge founder secondaries, which, like, by the way, I fucking hope that Eric took a nice secondary. I hope my man is set
Bolt
for
was
life
their
now.
last, they were going to shut down
We're going to
StackBlitz
shut
before
StackBlitz
Bolt.
down. Yeah.
It's crazy.
But you're seeing these companies realize that, like, I have to raise a gargantuan amount of money because we're all kind of building the same product right now.
Yeah.
And actually, Pietro shared his pitch deck for Magic Path. So it's in the interview on YouTube. If you scroll back to the very end of the interview, you're going to see Pietro's pitch deck for Magic Path. And his first slide was all of the, the Lovable, the Bolt, the cursor logo, like all these logos. Oh my God. And if you literally scrub to the end of the video, you'll see this slide, and it's the first slide of his pitch deck, and it just has all of the questions that they ask you, which is, yeah, here it is right here. What are you going to build today? What do you want to build today? What do you want to build today? What do you want to build today? And I was like, that is a genius summation, because everybody is saying that. And so the question is, who can raise a ton of money and then use that money to capture enough goodwill with the community, right? To do things like sponsor our stupid show, right? To do a fucking Chainsmokers concert, to do the $1 million hackathon, to do all these things that might not look to a CFO like they have immediate ROI, but they're ways to get people in the community that have some presence, some sense of authority or trust or whatever the fuck you want to call it, talking about it. And then they're doubling down on that by actually just, seeing it through by making good community-based decisions. Yeah. And that, to me, is how you're going to win.
And I think, it goes like, it's deeper than just like, hey, we have a community hackathon. It's like, and then we're also going to invest the money to, like, platform the people who win and hope that you build a real business. And we want to continue to support that as an ecosystem. And that's huge, man. That is so big.
Lovable is still growing faster than Bolt, I think. Listen, Clow, you European. We don't care. Okay. No, on this side of the ocean, here's what we do. Our billionaires and our presidents fucking get in Twitter fights. Okay. We don't want your European stuff. All right. Jeez. Literally grew our last product just by responding to intercom chat. People are shocked to just talk to a real human, especially a founder. The bar is actually so low. Get creative and do some things that don't scale. Exactly. Yeah.
Love
Community is
it. Love
everything.
it.
I'm kidding, by the way, Cloud. But I think Bolt is definitely bigger than Lovable by a decent amount.
And listen, man, we could be eating our words this time next year when Eric's like, "Hey, man, we spent 70% of our budget on community, and now we're fucked." And you know, but I don't think we are. I don't think that's. I mean, I think it's very evident. Even like, I'm sure they're already seeing some of the ROI. I think it's very clear. People want value based. They want like even like you were saying, even on the media side, dude. Like, yeah, show up with a little bit of the clickbait. Show up with a little bit of the, hey, we want your attention. Now that we have it, let's talk about some dope stuff. Let's really show you some valuable
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Ethan says Replit versus Bolt, who wins? All I would say to that, here's my reply. Scroll through Amjad's Twitter and then scroll through Eric's Twitter and make your own decision.
How much weight do you put on that sort of measurement? Because you had lots of very positive. You were kind of putting Replit as this outlier in a positive way a few months ago.
I think Replit is doing some really interesting stuff. But I'm just saying, like, if you just scroll through the Twitters, you're gonna see one of the most divergent outlooks on CEOs, is what I'll say.
Is he a little gatekeepy? What's the TLDR on that?
No, that's all I'm saying is just look at the public personas, man. In an age where distribution is everything and CEOs are very public.
Timid Hunter, look at you over there.
Just look at the public personas.
Bears in the wild or something, and he can't make a comment about a CEO, huh?
Yeah. I don't get into politics, dude.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Speaking of politics, real quick.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about how hilarious this Elon Musk, Donald Trump?
What a 180, dude. What a 180. And we are not a political show. And I'm certainly a big dumb idiot. But what a 180 that has been.
It definitely has given us entertainment. That's for sure.
Yeah. It is a fiery thing. I've tried to keep my head down out of it because like right now I'm at a place where it's like I need to move fast and I need to do these things. But man, you see that kind of thing pop up and you're like, oh, I'm missing one of the most entertaining shows of this generation.
The show is called Reality.
Yeah, I know. And I need to disassociate from reality to try to climb Mount Kilimanjaro here. So
Indeed. What else we got, man? What other topics we got rolling around today?
That's about what I've got on my radar today, dude. I think it's been I think a lot of the news cycle this week has been overshadowed by this reality show we were just talking about. Does that mean Teslas are cool again? That is my question. I am curious to see the sentiment shift. Cause yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. You know?
Teslas are not selling well, I'll tell you that.
No, they're not. They're not at all. But I know that people are nervous about, just regulation in general out here, man. Like from AI to SEC stuff. It's like, what the fuck? Where do you place your bets? Like crypto companies are in shambles right now. These DeFi companies are like, oh shit, man. Am I going to go to jail tomorrow if the SEC dissolves? Like, what is the deal? And then we've got AI regulation. I don't even know. I don't know how you make choices in this kind of climate.
Dude, I don't either. Man, I don't know. It's a weird time. It's a weird time to be alive. It's funny because like any material bet that you're making right now has to come with, I think, a really confident outlook on the future.
Yeah.
You ever feel that way?
Delusional,
like,
at least.
I need perspective, you know? Adrian Fortuna says Teslas have always been shit.
Have they? I feel like they've gotten a couple things right. Dylan Field says SpaceX is still the most important company of the last 10 years, the last 10 months, the last 10 days, and today. Something to that effect. Old Dylan Field, Figma make.
Zoink.
Zoink.
Zoink. Dude, Adrian Fortuna never ceases to surprise me with his takes.
Yeah, good community member. Smooth brain. A little bit of a smooth brain. But we appreciate you.
Yo, how many folds you got up there? One.
I like it though. It's a good time.
Levi Jones. Dylan also believes aliens are real. Well, statistically speaking, they probably are.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So,
but like, is that a bad take though?
no, it's
You
not a bad
know?
take.
Like, is it maybe it's bad to have so much conviction about it without evidence, but is it like macro a bad take? I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think it's a bad take. You know what I think is a bad take? Anybody that would say Tommy's shirt is not wonderful. I think
No,
that's a
this is a
bad
sick
take.
shirt, and I don't even need validation on that. I
It's
know.
a pretty cool shirt.
I promise I dress better than probably 90% of the people in chat right now. So
Are
we can go that.
are you wearing that for the D&D campaign tonight?
No D&D campaign tonight. I do have a tattoo
Oh,
session today, so we're finishing this guy up. I can't pull it up right now, but
that guy over there.
we're working on it. Working on it.
Yeah.
AI generated, human augmented. I'll have everyone know.
Is a
AI.
machine tattooing your arm?
No, 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 no. Would you have a machine tattoo your arm?
Probably not.
No. Like,
I mean,
what if it was like
although,
just like 100% accuracy? It didn't get tired, didn't need a bathroom
oh,
break. It was
sure.
like
Yeah,
full sleeve in like 8 hours, you know?
sure. I'm not a tattoo purist. It's all about like the artist and all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
got
I've
all
had
my
people
tattoos when I was drunk. So
I'll tell you I'll tell you what about tattoos. So like the first tattoo I ever got, I agonized over the meaning and the story and the symbolism. And now I'm just like I walk in and I'm like, hey, I want like a dragon thing. I'm like, just fuck me up, dude. And it's funny. It's funny because the most opinionated, a tattoo should be this and look like that, are people with like one tattoo and they got it
yeah,
like one and it's like, okay, it's fine.
they got
Like
like a fucking like
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna shit on
know
anybody's
butterfly on their
art.
ankle.
I'm not gonna yuck anybody's yum. But the only people who are doing that in tattoo work are the ones who like they've got 4 hours under the gun and now they're like, no, this is how it should be. And it's like, shut the fuck up, man.
Dude, did you just say under the gun?
Yeah, yeah. I've got like 50 hours under the gun.
Talk about like very tattoo gatekeeping right there. You're like, how much time you got under the gun, bro?
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
I'm gonna go and give me the tattoo gun.
I don't know. I like the culture though, man. I'm a big fan of it. It's fun. It's human. It's art.
Are you ready for the most smooth brain fucking comeback of all time? My brain is like the Grand Canyon, not spelled correctly. What are you talking about? You're the one wearing a hat.
Hey, at least it's on brand. At least it's on brand for Adrian. Like, and there, I said your name correctly. At least it's on brand for him. You know, we expect nothing less than comments like that, and we appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Sometimes I just can't, man. This is one of the joys of doing the show live, is you can see these things.
Butterfly or like a bow tattoo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is a good time. So next week I fly out to film Soren Iverson, and we're watching him and his team, who move at a crazy clip, dude. And this is like speed has been on my mind as builders, and you and I talk about this and the tools you're building. I want them to help people like me move faster because the number of projects Soren's team has in flight, can't talk about them all here, but they will come out in the show, are tremendous. And they work out of this tiny little cramped WeWork. And like, for example, the week or two before Config, I think it was, or it might have been a little bit before that. From the day Figma reached out to them to the day they had a wonderfully produced commercial, 4 days,
That's insane.
4 fucking days, dude. And I'm just looking at this stuff, and I've got people on my team who are like, oh, yeah, well, you know, we'll shoot this episode. We'll get it out August 1st. And I'm like, the fuck we will. There's absolutely no need for that kind of slowness. And so it's something I've really been trying to figure out. Like, how do you move faster? I think it starts with you as the CEO, the founder, setting the example. But
Mm.
how do you incentivize your team to like care about it, you know? And there's a lot of it's something I've really been thinking a lot about, speed in this age
Mm.
of tooling and expectations and stuff like that. So I'm excited to go follow a team like Soren's because I want to see how do you guys move so fast on some of the most high profile client projects in the world.
Mm.
And I can't wait to show what they're doing. We're going to follow MetaLab. We're in talks with Perplexity, which just made some material movement. I'm so stoked about. I'm going to come out there to Chicago and put a camera in your team's face and see how you guys are building Service OS, man.
You don't want to put a camera in our face. It's just three idiots.
That's kind of the story. That's the story. Let me connect the dots. I promise I will tell it with care.
Hey, brother,
and
you're
with
you're
craft.
welcome anytime. You're welcome anytime. You're welcome anytime.
I
But
love
that's
this
it, man.
stuff,
I
man.
think that's the show for today.
I think
That's
so
it.
too.
No guests, just chilling.
Yeah.
Lots of news, lots of smooth brains.
I think we do have next week we've got Granola joining us next week. I'm stoked to talk about these topics with Sam.
We got
So that'll
Granola
be
joining us next week. We
We
got
do.
the guys from Play joining us the week after. They just won the design award for
that's
innovation.
fun. I'm very curious to talk to those folks, man.
Yep, we got Bolt joining soon, towards the end of June, I think.
Near
We
the
got Johnny Ive
wrapping up of the
coming early
contest.
July. Yeah, it's gonna be sick.
That is awesome. Yeah. So, but I will say, hey, I appreciate you guys just listening to us yap all day. That's what we
Yeah.
do. We're professional yappers, you know.
Professional yappers do it like it's their job. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Don't do anything too silly. For those Europeans out there, use Bolt, not lovable.
And Adrian, use a dictionary, not spell check. So, all right.